Hello everyone, welcome to the economics class. I am Suma, economics lecturer, Gopalswamy PU College, Mysore. Today in this second session of Introduction to Macroeconomics, let us discuss about the importance of macroeconomics. Why is it should be studied? So, the scope of macroeconomics as well as the importance or significance of macroeconomics will also be learnt in this session. As you all know, the macroeconomics is one which studies the economy as a whole. Here, all the economical units comprise of aggregates and the calculation of the economical units altogether. So, as you all learnt in the previous session about the difference between microeconomics as well as macroeconomics, it said you that microeconomics studies about the individual units of a society, wherein the macroeconomics studies about the aggregate or the economy as a whole. The individual economical units together with the economy as a whole or general economical units, they help the government to frame the policies and create the rules for the welfare of each and every citizen of the country. As you all know, macroeconomics is concerned with the social well-being of each and every resident of the country, and therefore it considers the macroeconomical units such as general price level, general output level, general employment level and the general income level. And government always is worried about strengthening the economy of its own country because it wants to improve the economical situation in spite of different kinds of challenges. So, now let us see about the scope of this macroeconomics. What is the need to learn? Because in your previous session you learned what is the cause for the emergence of macroeconomics. You all learned about the importance of macroeconomics, because without macroeconomics, microeconomics alone cannot do anything related to the social welfare, because the microeconomics comprises of individual agents who are bothered about their own welfare and interest, and these individual agents are the decision makers. So, when they are worried about their own self-interest and growth, the total and overall economical growth cannot be expected from the microeconomical units. So, in such cases, macroeconomics helps us to take decisions. So, the first scope is that the estimation of national income and aggregates. The macroeconomics estimates and analyzes the national income and its aggregates. So, whatever the individual economical units under microeconomics supply the information, along with that and based on those informations, macroeconomical units take care of the national income and they calculate the gross domestic product, net domestic product as well as net national product, and they also consider the aggregates, the aggregate levels of the insurance, maybe it is price fixation or maybe it is employment situation, everything is taken care of under macroeconomics. The second one is theory of employment. It is a very important factor that should be analyzed periodically by the government of a country, because the equilibrium between the demand and supply of the labor force should be under balance. So, the number of labor force may be in one another country is more, or the number of labor force may be in another country is less, but the job opportunities may also be more as well as may also be less. But the government should consider the employment opportunities that are existing for the available labor force, so that it does not want the productive sector to sit quiet. So, therefore, the theory of employment matters a lot, because the employment opportunities, if they are created in more numbers, the income earned by the government in the form of taxes is also more, because each and every employee who gets job and who earns a salary should pay the taxes, and these taxes are the main sources of revenue to the country, and therefore the macroeconomics has a greater scope in relation to the theory of employment. The third one is theory of money. This is a very important. Money is the key driving factor of an economy which decides about its success or failure. So, the generation of money, how the money is involved, what is the situation of the economical policies when it comes to the generation of money by the commercial banks, and the interest rates and the fixation of the pricing for the individual products that are produced in different industries. All these are taken care under the theory of money, and this theory of money explains about the need for money and how and all it can be generated. The next one is, it studies about the general theory of price level, that is inflation and deflation. So, the theory of general price level, which studies about the inflation and deflation, is very important, and that is undertaken by macroeconomics. Inflation is a situation of price hike and deflation is a situation of price fall. So, under the economical setup, there are both the chances in any economy that at times inflation may occur and at times deflation may be sought. So, government should frame policies in relation to these inflation as well as deflation, so that it should consider the welfare of each and every resident of its country. The next scope is exchange rate and balance of payment. Here, the next topic that is covered under the scope of macroeconomics is exchange rate. What is meant by exchange rate? Exchange rate is nothing but the rate at which one country's currency is exchanged with another country's currency, because each and every individual country's currencies vary according to their values, and that can be exchanged, because as I said, there are four very important sectors under macroeconomics which are interdependent. The first and foremost is government sector, second one is consumer sector, third one is household sector, and the fourth one is foreign exchange or foreign trade sector. Here, each and every country is involved with some kinds of imports and exports. So, the exchange rate should be determined, that is the rate at which one country's currency is exchanged with another country's currency. And the last one here that is studied is balance of payments. What is meant by balance of payments? Balance of payments says that it is a statement of transactions that is undertaken by one country with the rest of the world in terms of both imports as well as exports, because by the exports we have some dues from other country that should come to us, and by imports we have some money that we owe to the other countries and we have to pay it on any day. So, the collection of both these import and export balances are considered as the statement of balance of payments. Macroeconomics considers all these because macroeconomics studies the economical units as a whole. It considers the economy as a whole, and in all these it is involved with all these imports and exports and also the production sector as well as the service sector, wherein when you go to the individual economical units study, that is microeconomics, you are not supposed to worry about the imports and exports, because it studies the economical units within a particular region and it is not bothered about the international trade. So, this is the scope of the microeconomics, and it is very important question from the point of view of your examination that you need to learn both the scope as well as the significance of macroeconomics. So, the significance of macroeconomics. The first and foremost significance is nothing but the importance. So, the importance of macroeconomics, why is it needed in this present generation? Why can't we rely only on the microeconomical results? And why do we have to study the macroeconomical units as it studies the economy as a whole with aggregates? So, what is the need for that? All these are explained under the topic significance. So, the significance is, the first one is description of the economy related to particularly the national income. The macroeconomical calculations and analysis reveal some kind of description related to the economy as a whole, because here the national income calculation is done, and based on this national income only we are going to derive a conclusion related to the GDP. GDP is nothing but the gross domestic product, that is the sum total of the goods and services produced over a period of year. Here it considers only the final goods, not the intermediate goods. So, the description is given by macroeconomics related to the national income. The second one is, it shows a route map of growth and development, because the macroeconomical analysis involves the studies of aggregates related to the general pricing level, output level and the income level as well as the general demand and supply level. They reveal the facts related to the needs of different sectors and what all the government should take the steps to improve that particular sector, so that the government can enhance the economical growth as well as development. So, therefore, the very important significance of macroeconomics is that it shows the route map of growth and development. The route map of growth and development involves a huge, and it is vast when we compare to the macroeconomical analysis, but here the growth and development is very important, because in a country like India with different types of production sectors, it is very important to study about which sector contributes more towards the growth and development of the economy of our country, because here in our country, as being India is emerging as the third largest economy of the world, it is concentrating more in these days towards the sector of infrastructure. 34% of our GDP is being invested on the infrastructure, wherein only 4.8% of our GDP was being invested on the health infrastructure. But today, because of this pandemic situation, government has improved the percentage of money that is being invested on the health infrastructure to ensure about the social wellness and health of each and every citizen of its country. So, here the third one is economical stability. Here comes the situation of inflation and deflation. That is, the fiscal policies are framed and they are considered seriously here, and the repo rate, the rate at which the banks, the national banks give the money to the commercial banks, and the rate at which these monies are returned to the nationalized banks or RBI with some sort of interest. Therefore, the economical stability is taken care of here, because recently we have witnessed there was a great inflation rate related to the related to the onion's price. The price of the onion went up to 100 and 120 per kilo because of the shortage of supply. There was an imbalance in the equilibrium situation of the demand and supply of onion, and therefore we had to consider this as seriously. And at times it becomes reverse also. It is vice versa. Sometimes it is even there will be the deflation situation where the growers of any particular farm product will throw the product on streets because they did not find any price for their products. So at that time government considers about providing subsidies to the growers of that particular product, because in either cases government doesn't want the consumers to suffer, as well as takes care of the farmers' welfare too, because India being an agrarian country in which 75% of people are either directly or indirectly dependent on this agriculture, the government considers it as a chief aspect and it takes care of the welfare of all the fellow citizens of the country. Fourth one is balance of payment. The significance of macroeconomics is found here because, as you all know, balance of payments is nothing but a statement of transactions that is undertaken by a country with the rest of the parts of the world in relation to the imports and exports. So this statement shows you that how much money you owe to the other countries for the goods brought from them, and how much money is due to you from the other countries for the goods bought by you. So this is the situation which says about the economical situation of a particular period. The next one is problems of poverty and environmental pollution. The government of India deals with the problems of poverty. Here you all know that India, even though it is emerging as one of the third largest economies of the world, it is still suffering with some basic problems called as poverty, unemployment, etc. So poverty is one such situation that wherein any individual person who is unable to meet his basic needs like roti, kapda or makan, or even the health and basic health and educational facilities, that person is called as poor. Problems of poverty are dealt with. Government creates lots of employment generation programs to eradicate poverty, and innumerous poverty alleviation projects are under action. So this is because government wants each and every individual to earn his own livelihood or her own livelihood without begging. And the next one is the significance of macroeconomics is not just confined to the economical progress, but also it is related to the environmental pollution. These days the country is facing a severe crisis related to the environmental aspects, as the ozone layer is being depleted due to the global warming, and the harmful ultraviolet rays are entering the earth. And here therefore the world, particularly the United Nations organization, is worried about this, and it is cautioning every other country and all the member countries of UNO to take care of the sustainable development, because the environment is being polluted in many ways. The air pollution is there, water pollution is there, noise pollution is there, and many other kinds of pollutions are disturbing the economy of the country, because all these are leading to the unhealth of the people of the country residing here, and they are in turn unable to contribute to the economical progress of a country. The next one is the policy formulation. The government is very much worried about creating the policies. Macroeconomical analysis is taken care when it takes any policies or when it is taking the rules or creating any rules for the social welfare of the country. For example, you can see the situation of this COVID, the government, how is it handling the situation of COVID, and because of the timely awareness that was given to the fellow citizens of our country, we did not witness so much of deaths that has been witnessed by other countries, because the government took timely decisions like lockdown, partial lockdown, or closing or banning the opening up of schools and colleges, so that the infants or the school going children should not catch the disease. So, these are all the policy decisions taken by the government. Even though our economical situation is not that good, or it did not prove good because of the lockdown situation, the productivity was lost, but still the government did not bother about the profit, and so therefore it worried about the social well-being of the country, and it established COVID hospitals, and it gave treatments, and it supplied free of cost food and shelter to the quarantined people during this COVID situation. So, these are all macroeconomical identities, macroeconomical significances only. And the next one is concentration of capitalistic economy. Here the macroeconomics studies, and it gives importance to the market economy or capitalistic economy, wherein private sector ownership is more. All the factors of productions are owned by private sector, and private sector in relation generates lots of employment opportunities in the both production as well as service sector, so that the government can take care of the welfare of the citizens of the country in some other terms, because the production and service sector is under control of the private ownership. Government is free, and it can take some policy decisions related to the well-being of the society in terms of health, education, or providing social infrastructure like this. A capitalist economy is one which provides, is one which is most considered about profit making, wherein the socialist economy or the government owned economy is concerned about the social welfare. But here in the mixed economy system, everywhere in these days we are finding mixed economy system, because all these pure socialist economy or pure capitalist economy are not going to be successful, and they are not going to work for a longer period. So therefore mixed economy system, wherein the equal participation of both government as well as private ownership is undertaken, and in such situation wherein in India we have such mixed economy system, kind of progress can be sought. So with all these, we come to the conclusion of this scope and significance part of macroeconomics. Dear friends, it is a small chapter which intended to introduce you the macroeconomics and what are all the differences between microeconomics and macroeconomics, and it also dealt with the scope of macroeconomics as well as the significance of macroeconomics. So with this, we come to the conclusion of this lesson, and in our next session, let's move towards the second lesson of the macroeconomics. Thank you.